Good morning, everyone, or afternoon, or noon, not yet after. We're moments away from it being afternoon on the East Coast, where we can officially say that. My name is Jim Tanner. I'm giving everybody just a chance to get started here. We'll take about 30 seconds. I'd love for you to jump in the chat as you're getting started with us and share where you're zooming in from. We got you muted so that we can keep the lines quiet as we do our training today for our B2B Circle Up for Monday, September 18th, 2023. And I'm here. I'm making my home in the suburbs of Boston, Massachusetts, about 18 minutes from Fenway Park for the baseball fans in attendance today. And I'm sure if there's anybody from Atlanta, they'll be here happily talking about baseball. So thanks everybody for joining us. We're going to get this thing kicked off here in just seconds. Like seconds from now, what you're dreaming about will happen. I'll stop talking, and then you're going to get some great training. So as everybody's joining us again, thanks for those of you that are sharing in Zoom where you're joining us in from. We have a loaded up event today. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be hearing from our guest speaker. Then we're going to be talking about upcoming events and all of the incentives that are going on in this incredibly important space that we're here talking about today, business solutions, helping companies improve their bottom line, attract and retain the best employees, basically helping them win in the marketplace. Companies of any size can compete with companies of every size now because of us. And I am excited that that's what you and I do every day, and that we can do it at such a high level and such a high caliber. This is an elite organization, and I'm grateful to have your attention here today as we get started. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to our guest speaker. And while I'm going to give her an introduction, she, first of all, doesn't need one. Second of all, nothing will rise to what she's actually accomplished. Rachel Lawton is a $150,000 ring earner so far. I mean, by the time I finish her introduction, that number could change. She's a Millionaire Club member. She is an incredible trainer, a field trainer in her region. She'll talk about that, I'm sure. She's someone that I have, you know, if you get to stick around this business long enough, what happens is you get to see people on their way up. And I got to meet Rachel Lawton for the first time when I spoke at a Super Saturday in Minneapolis, Minnesota, a whole bunch of years ago. And she was on fire then, and nothing has changed since, except that fire inside of her, she's allowed to catch on all around her. And she's been inspiring people to be their absolute best in this company ever since. So ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Miss Rachel Lawton. Rachel, we're so excited to have you here with us today. And this is a free form kind of a deal. We're just going to let you take it away.
Wow, thanks so much, Jim. And I'm just feeling a little hot here. That was a amazing, beautiful introduction. I appreciate you so much. And I've been learning from you since the day I got in this business, along with all of our other colleagues that are here. Mike, it's great to see you here this morning. Fred from Minnesota, who's actually my upline, is here with us here today. I did hop the border into cheese country. So my husband and I recently moved from Minnesota on over here to Wisconsin. We're literally right on the border of Minnesota and Wisconsin, but we are loving every second of it. And I'm just grateful to be here with you all this morning. I've had the opportunity just in the last 2 weeks to visit with Jim and train alongside him in a few different capacities, and it's been a ton of fun. So thanks for extending the invite. And for those of you I haven't had the opportunity to get to know just yet, I really look forward to that. I commend you for being here on a Monday morning. And we're about to launch into the biggest season of our business solutions business. Whether you are just fresh out the boat, getting started in business solutions, maybe you are coming back after taking a little bit of a hiatus with business solutions. I know I got to speak with one of our great leaders out of Indiana market. He's coming back and coming in hot. Also, maybe, you've been seasoned for quite some time and you're looking for different ways to connect with some of your current book of business. I hope to share a couple of tips here with you today. But when, as I kind of get started here, it's really hard to believe. I know I've said this many times before, but it is kind of crazy how fast time goes. I just recently celebrated 11 years with Legal Shield, and boy, has it been a ride. So Venus, when you ask me the question, I will most definitely be touching on some of the virtual aspects that might be helpful But as I got started, I had no background in employee benefits, no background in professional services industry, and I really had started on the network side. Started growing my business and my team. Literally one night a week, I would have I called it a women's empowerment meeting. Really, it was just a private business reception every week. And, I was working 60, 70 hours a week already. I was waiting tables during the day and or cleaning houses during the day, waiting tables and bartending on the nights and weekends just to make ends meet. I never went to college. I, in fact, moved out on my own and got my first apartment at the age of 17. Helped raise my siblings. I grew up in the inner cities of St. Paul, Minnesota. Single parent household with 6 children. And, as some of you may recognize my story a little bit, but my mom left when I was 14 years old. She's a drug addict, unfortunately. We kind of got separated out into different families, my siblings and I. And at the age of 17, I said, "Well, I'm not dealing with that anymore." So I got my own apartment, and I've never been without 2, 3, even 4 jobs at one point at a time since the age of 14 is when I started working. So I'm no stranger to hard work, but what really had me transition my business over from the network side to business solutions is I had the opportunity to take a group school that we called it back then. Now it's certification training. And it was a 2-day group school. And I realized I had always had um, this yearning inside of me to do something with the business world. I owned my Rachel Rags cleaning company, but that was just a one-woman shop, had a couple helpers on the side. So I knew some things about business. I realized that I definitely was an entrepreneur, and that's what turned me on to Legal Shield from the service aspect. But in business solutions, you get the opportunity to work with company owners and to work with the masses, right? And so I decided to get trained up. So I get this feedback all the time. And in fact, it happened, I think, just even 3 times while we were in Chicago. Oh, you're younger than we are, Rachel. This digital stuff comes so easy to you. And it's just you're like born with knowing how to use LinkedIn and Zoom and all this virtual stuff. And I'm going, let's kick that to the curb right now, because I didn't even get my first computer until I was 29 years old. Okay, so when I started in my Legal Shield business, I didn't even know how to turn on a PC. I actually would go to the library for an hour, a couple of days a week, because they would allow for you to log into the computers there and learn some of the things there. I then went on to do some training. And if anybody remembers this big, huge thing called the Equifax breach that took place, we were all in Columbus, Ohio at that time at a Business Solutions live event. And all of a sudden, the doors are opening, people are standing in the hallway, everyone's taking phone calls. And we realized that was the day the Equifax breach broke. And the reason why I bring that up is because just the day before, I was in the great state of Kansas, Wichita, Kansas, actually, giving a presentation to the board members of a large hospital association throughout the state of Kansas. It was probably one of the most nerve-wracking appointments I had ever been on. There were about 15 people in the board, and here I am, talking about Legal Shield and a partnership. And they told me when we left the meeting to give them about 6 months to a year to make a decision. And I said, okay, well, we'll continue to communicate, to follow up. And off I went to the airport to Ohio. And the very next morning, the breach broke. And before noon that day, I got a call from the president of the association saying, "Rachel, we're ready to sign on the dotted line. When can we get started?" So we went ahead and we launched that. And the reason I'm speaking to this, Venus, is because sometimes in business, whether you've been here for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, their only constant in life is change, right? Things change and evolve on a daily basis. It's the world we live in today. But back at that time, not many of us even knew what this thing called Zoom was. But because this association was in Kansas and I lived in Minnesota, I had to figure out how to do a virtual meeting with multiple decision makers at one time. So I could then go through and open up multiple groups at one time instead of, traveling back and forth just for the discovery meeting. So long story short, I figured out Zoom. I smacked my head against the wall. I skinned my knees. I did some things really not right. But when we finally got it right, I had about 17 hospital CEOs on one decision maker Zoom, and the rest from there is history. I was able to just kind of catapult my business in that area, and I learned that doing things in a hybrid manner or a digital manner, that's kind of so it kind of poised me for 2020 when everything shut down. And I think, Mike, you called me like right away. We had a regional trainer meeting. We were just getting ready to launch. We were so excited, and then we're going, what do we do? Rachel, can you do a training on this? So long story short, our world is opening up right now. It's amazing to be able to get back in person with our groups. When you can get that, take it every time, but also be willing to communicate with that client on the way that they need to be communicated with, because not everybody, they haven't taken all of their employees back in-house. Many of them haven't. They're liking the idea of this work-life balance, and they're actually finding that their employees a lot of times are more productive when they can work in their home space, right? Others are saying, yeah, come into the office 2 days a week. You could choose those 2 days, and then the rest you can work from home. Others are bringing everybody back. So we've got all sorts of different industries that we're working with. So my encouragement to you is, as you're reaching out to your new prospects, as you're following up with those that maybe have not yet made a decision just yet, or as you're launching into open enrollment and creating those strategy discussions, you want to make sure that your communication is open and broad. So I might say something, and actually it's funny because just this morning I was able to schedule 8 separate employee meetings for renewals, and they're on the East Coast. So they're going to be in the office, and I'm going to be in my office, and I'm just coming through the screen, right? So we do get the opportunity to do that. So I would encourage you, as you're, and Jim, I'm going to send you over just a quick note that I made up a few years ago as I'm scheduling renewal meetings. So specifically talking about our current client base, getting back in there through open enrollment. I'm always going to ask the question, what are we looking at for open enrollment right now? How are you currently integrating into an admin system? Are you working with an EDI file feed? Do we need to tweak or change anything like that? I want to make sure I'm having those discussions. But secondarily, I'm going to ask, how are we conducting employee communication? Are we conducting in-person meetings? Are we doing a hybrid type situation, or are we going to go all virtual? 99.9% of the time, what I'm finding now is a lot of folks are open to a hybrid situation. A lot of folks are also now more open to in-person than they have been in a long time. So you just want to make sure to have that flexibility as you're having those discussions. Also, if you're just looking to launch your business solutions business, I'm telling you what, there has never been a better time than literally right now. We've got systems in place with amazing field leaders and field trainers, many of which that are with us here today, that are here to walk alongside you and help you within asking those questions and developing that communication style and the strategy to make sure that the rollout is awesome and seamless, but also your service mentality on the back end is even better. So I wanted to leave you with just a couple of extra items here that I wrote down that I think are really important. But before I do that, Venus, did you have any specific questions that I didn't hit on yet when it comes to a virtual meeting?
No, you did. And I encourage everyone to watch the virtual meeting that is spotlighted in the employee benefits training that you do, because I feel like it's important for people to see how you address people over the screen. You talk to them as if you know them. You speak to them in a manner of they already have the membership. It's not, you're not asking them to buy the membership. You explain to them what their membership includes and what they're going to get once their membership is in place. And I think that terminology makes a big difference, especially when you're not in the room with someone. And I've learned a lot by listening to that over and over. Mark Riches actually has it downloaded for us, that one video of you, and it's an incredible tool for us. And I think that when you're talking to people, you really make people feel like you're in the same room. And I think that's a quality that people need to acquire when they're doing a virtual meeting of any form, whether it's a decision maker or the enrollment or a renewal. So I think that that's really great.
Awesome. I'm so glad that that's been so helpful for you. And I'll tell you, oh, thanks, Mike, for popping that in there. I'll tell you what, again, this does not come natural. I love what you just said there, Venus, in that these are skill sets that we need to acquire. And why do I say that? Well, I actually went out and hired speaking coaches. I went to Toastmasters. I learned the industry standards. I treated and still treat this business and this industry like it's my college. This is my college degree. I get to make that however I so choose. I might not have the doctorate or the MBA or whatever, but I have to treat it as though I'm really being a student of the industry and the business to be able to better serve our clients, especially in that environment. So I'm so very grateful that that's been helpful for you. And the terminology, as I always say, is everything. Language matters, and it really is everything. So thank you for pointing that out. My speaking coach would be very happy. I'll just tell you that one. So as the last couple of nuggets that I just wanted to leave you with here, guys. I know you've got a jam scheduled here today, but I hope this has been helpful so far. I mentioned as I had gotten started in the business that I was just basically ignorance on fire. I'm like knocking on doors, making calls. My trainer told me that he wouldn't train me unless I literally made 50 to 75 dials a day. And I had to send him my lists. I had to send him my notes. And I'm like, oh man, this is such a daunting task. I mean, once you get through the first 5 days, you're like speed dialing, but it was a rough deal. So if you are sitting here relaunching your business, launching your business, or adding in maybe a new skill set, I'm going to really encourage you to do that. I mentioned earlier that people communicate in different ways, and I'll tell you what, early on, I want to say it was maybe 2015, Melissa Wilder was doing a breakout session at one of our international conventions. And my light bulb completely went off with one simple thing. We talked about this in Chicago. It's really that 1 degree of difference that brings warm water to boiling hot water that can charge a locomotive, right? It's that one tiny little nugget that can help. And the nugget that she gave is she said, why are we trying to communicate with people only over the phone? Why are we trying to communicate with people with just passing them a CD and expecting them to watch it? What if they don't have a CD player? Why are we just trying to communicate with people via email? What if they never check their email or it's going into spam? We need to be communicating with people in the way that they choose to be communicated with. So what do I mean by that? Well, anytime that I'm going to make a phone call, whether it is for initial prospect, a follow-up, or a open enrollment strategy session, whatever that is, I'm going to send them multiple sources of communication so they can communicate with me in the way that's most comfortable for them. So day one, I'm going to give just a quick call to schedule the appointment. Let's say I end up getting the voicemail. I'm going to go ahead and let's say it's Michelle. I'm going to let Michelle know, hey, Michelle, this is Rachel Lawton, just following up via email, right? So not only am I going to leave a voicemail, but I'm going to mention at the end of my voicemail, if it's easier for you to communicate to me via email, I'm going to drop an email into your inbox. Feel free to follow up with me there. I look forward to communicating with you soon. It creates that sandwich approach. So it allows for them to be more comfortable in their area. Let's say they're getting back to their desk. Things are on fire. They got, employees coming in their office. They got an audit happening. The last thing they want to do is listen to a 5-minute voicemail, right? Maybe they just want to pop open their email and drill through their email inbox. The third way that I communicate is in a follow-up about 3 or 4 days later if I haven't heard back, and that's going to be via LinkedIn. LinkedIn is an amazing tool. You would be astounded by the numbers of folks that are in decision-making capability. Did you know 80% of professionals that are on LinkedIn currently right now are make decisions on behalf of their companies? Over 80%. So if you are not visible there, I'm going to encourage you, please do so for yourself. It's going to help increase that ratio. And the last thing that I'll leave you with is just to make sure that you've got a strategy for your processes. As we're onboarding new clients, I always like to, I just had an onboarding session the other day, and it was fantastic. So we always hear this, you know, you want to book a meeting from a meeting. You never want to leave somebody without knowing what the next step is. And there's always a next step. So to set yourself up for success, let's say we've just had the discovery meeting. Okay, our next step is the authorization form. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to walk you through the HR admin portal, and I'm going to walk you through what that looks like for payroll. We want to meet with payroll, right? The next step is employee communications for the actual rollout and the meeting. The next step after that is a post communication to let employees know what their deadline is. The next step after that is to meet with billing and invoicing and make sure that they are aware of how to pay their bill online. These are very simple bullet point steps. And actually, Mike, as I'm speaking, I'm thinking maybe I should just put together a bullet point document for that, right? And then after that, the next step is servicing and communications, whether it's a will workshop or a member perks workshop or an identity theft workshop. We just always want to make sure that we are in front of our clients at every given time so we don't get into that lull where we go, okay, wait, what was the next step? I haven't talked to them in 6 months. Now what do I do? You don't want to set yourself up that way. You want to set yourself up for the highest level of retention and to always make sure that you're being invited back because you're the one that controls the outcome. How do you control the outcome? You read the book called Pitch Anything. I'm going to pop it on here into the chat. I know I went a couple minutes over, but thank you so much for having me this morning, Jim. If you have any questions, feel free to shout them on out, but I hope that's been helpful.
Great, Rachel, thank you so much. And I've got a question for the group on behalf of the group. And I just want to say, because you just talked about the, you know, all those great things you're going to put in the bullets for everybody. But we want to make sure, because we got a lot of folks that are just launching their careers in business solutions, that we have this incredible, robust field training program where the field trainer is going to guide you by hand. There was definitely in my career a point in time where it was like, here's a pep talk, you know, you're kicking the butt, go figure it out for yourself. But we don't do that today. All these years later, we align our newest associates with our most seasoned associates. And maybe you could just speak for a moment about your experience as a field trainer receiving these excited new babies into our world, and what makes someone more prepared to work with you in that capacity versus someone who's really just not ready for the field trainer yet, if you want to address that.
Absolutely, I would love to. I mean, field training is it's the lifeblood of what we do. It's really our onboarding process. And when I first got started, much like many of you, we didn't have the field training program. So thanks to our great leaders like Mike Riches, Melissa Wilder for putting those pieces together for us. One of the things that gets me so excited when I get the opportunity to work with a new trainee is to really walk them through that process. Because that is what a field trainer is there to do. It's not saying, oh, here's the bullet points and this is what you got to do. That's not the deal. That's what you do if you choose to do it on your own. That's not the way that we would recommend. We want to give you one step at a time to be that partner, to be that coach that's there right alongside you, because you know what that's going to do? That's going to increase your close ratio. It's going to increase your knowledge base, and it's going to set you up for success for when you do decide and choose to go and do this on your own. And I'll share with you a quick success story we got to hear actually in Chicago. The mighty Midwest region is on fire. We had Miss Cache Allen. She's one of our rising stars in business solutions. She's literally tripled her business year over year. I had the opportunity to onboard her and work with her on her very first group, on her very first few groups before she took them training wheels off, and now she's just running the show, which is awesome. That's the whole purpose of field training. But we go step by step by step. Okay, Jim, your next step is, that's our job as a field trainer, right? Okay, your next step is this. This is what you can expect from me. This is my next step. This is what we do together, right? And so it just allows for you to not have to, what do they call it? Eat the whole elephant. You just eat an elephant one bite at a time. I never really understood that, by the way. Who wants to eat an elephant? But anyway, it allows for you to be trained, coached, and learn through that process. I really think about field training. If anybody here has ever been in the service industry, when you start a new job at a restaurant, it works in 3 ways. The first way it works is you're in-class training, right? That's our certification training. You're in-class training. You're learning the menu. You're learning the floor plan. You're learning the computer system. Those are the things that you're doing on that first day of training. The second of training, you're following a leader. You're literally following them to a table, hearing them take the orders, watching them input into the screen, serving the customer, understanding how the food looks when it comes out. And then that third day of training is that now the trainer is following you. So you get to be the one interacting with the customers. You get to be the one doing what the trainer taught you to do. And that is exactly what the process is with field training. I know I went off on a tangent there, but I hope that that puts things into perspective.
I think that's wonderful. Rachel, thank you so much. You'll see it in the chat. We appreciate you so much. And we're going to let you get back to your busy day right now. And we're so grateful to have you here with us. And thanks for all you do. We'll see you. Many of us will be there in Dallas, Texas with you. And we'll see you at events all around the country as well. Thanks again.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for your leadership. And let's get out there and rock it out this fourth quarter, guys. All right, we got this.
You got this. Thank you so much.
you.
That's Rachel Lawton, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to turn it right over to Mr. Mike Riches now, our Vice President of Sales Training for Business Solutions, $300,000 ring earner, Millionaire Club member. Mr. Riches, I know that you're excited that we had Rachel Lawton sharing today, and I'll turn it over to you.
I mean, wow, guys, does it get any better than that? I mean, to be able to learn from somebody that has literally built an incredibly successful business from scratch. I mean, you heard Rachel's story. She didn't come in with thousands of business contacts. She came in with a desire to learn and an eagerness to succeed. And that is what has fueled her growth in this business. But I'm so glad that she was transparent enough to talk about the learning curve that she had, that she wasn't just an excellent speaker overnight, but that was something that she was very intentional about, to the point of hiring a speaking coach and paying money to get better, to improve. I'm all for education and reading the books and attending the classes, but at the end of the day, she took that to a whole new level in trying to get better herself. And I appreciate her sharing that, because when you listen to that presentation, which many of you have, I know that, but when you do, it is excellent. Like, it's not just an A presentation, it is an A++ presentation. And that took a lot of time and intentional effort to get it to that point. As she was talking about field training, Jim, just one thought that I had. I know that some of us may be just getting started in business solutions, and maybe teaming up with a field trainer is the right move. And I would highly recommend that. Again, it does need to be a successful partnership. This is something that we talk about in our certification training. A successful partnership is when both parties bring something to the table, though. And I'm glad that, Jim, you asked Rachel, what makes it, or I don't remember how you phrased it, but basically what separates someone who is ready to be field trained from somebody who is really not ready. And I think a lot of that is just the mindset that it is a partnership, that field trainee absolutely is bringing something to the table. They're bringing their connection, they're bringing their contacts, they're bringing their reputation that is going to help set certain appointments that field trainer would not be able to set. And the field trainer is, of course, bringing their expertise and their experience. So for some of you, the right move right now, if you're just getting started in business solutions, team up with a field trainer, get with one. For others, you've done that. You've opened your first few groups. Maybe now you're working on your own, which is great. Another element of field training is we want you to become a field trainer. We need more field trainers. We've got a great, robust system, as Rachel said, and I could not agree more. I think our field training is more healthy right now than it's ever been. But we are always looking to add more field trainers. And just to give you an idea, the minimums, I should say, on that are 500 personal sales and 10 groups. We do take into account a couple of different things on groups. If you've had some success with some conservation accounts, then that's taken into account. If you are listed on a group, then that can be taken into account. But we do like to see where people have opened their own groups successfully, and not just one or two, but have opened several new groups themselves. And then, of course, being Performance Club qualified and writing over $1,000 in premium, in solutions premium in a calendar year, which is not a ton if you're working in business solutions, but that would be a bare minimum. So just kind of keep those things in mind. There are some of you that are getting close on several of those fronts, and I just want you to know that is an excellent goal to have out there, to become a field trainer. The reality is, again, that is a partnership. That should absolutely be a win-win. Rachel is a great field trainer because she has a great heart and she wants to help other people. But every time she field trains on a group, that should lead to additional income for her too. That should be a win-win. It's not just a charitable thing that she's doing. Again, she's got a great heart and I think would be willing and able to help people, even if there wasn't a financial gain. But there is a financial gain, and there should be. That should be a win-win. So again, for some of us that are kind of in that middle ground, we've gotten started, we're progressing, we've opened some groups, you're having some success. I hope that you've got that down as a goal to become a field trainer, and that should be a win-win for everybody involved. So anyway, sorry to go on a tangent there. The reality is I love when Rachel trains. I love when she talks. It always gets me fired up, and I just really appreciate her taking the time to share here this morning.
Mike Riches, thanks so much for that. And I just want to shout out, because I saw also on the screen Dan Gray, who just took your certification was it Friday? I believe you did it on Friday when I was on the road. And congratulations, Dan, for getting certified. And I'm sure there's others. As a matter of fact, we'd love to have you put it in the chat. If you were just recently attended one of, there's Dan right there. I'd love to have you put it in the chat if you recently attended one of Mike Rich's business solutions certification classes, because that's really where all of this begins, is getting into that class and getting a real deep understanding of what we do. I'm going to share my screen. Thanks again, Mike. I appreciate it so much. And as I was saying to Rachel, I don't know if you were on yet, but I was in the Pacific Northwest last weekend, and we were there was a lot of conversation about those solutions super regionals, and the majority of the feeling was people want those to continue, and they were sorry for some of those folks were sorry they couldn't be there in either Baltimore or Chicago, and they want to know when the next one is. But I think I'm sharing my screen, so I just want to go through.
Let me just jump in there, and
Yes,
Jim,
sir.
and just say,
Yep.
I'm so sorry. Let me just jump in and say, I love that sentiment is there, and I am grateful for it. And just you wait. That's all I can say right now is just you wait for 2024. So thank you for sharing that. I love it.
And you can see that Venus is already lobbying. It's like the Olympics. The cities are lobbying for the next solution super regional. All right, let's go through some incentives as we wrap up. We're going to get everybody back into the business of doing their business here on Monday. First, I think we were just talking about field training. Let's talk about getting your first group opened. Earn a $250 cash bonus when you open your first group, and that is doubled to $500 when you take a field trainer with you. So jumping into this field trainer partnership allows you to win at the highest level ever, and the company is going to reward that smart thinking, because we know success leaves clues. So the clue of your future success is that you're following the system, and the company is going to double your bonus to $500. Let's talk about Jamaica. As a matter of fact, put a 1 in the chat, unless you're flying an airplane or driving a car. Put a 1 in the chat if you need a vacation, if you could just use a getaway, and it would be even better if somebody else was footing the bill for it. I've seen some ones, Venus, that's a lot of ones, Venus. Folks, our company spent millions of dollars to send us to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico a few months ago, and we just had an absolute blast. All expenses paid, no expenses spared. And guess what? We're doing it again. And now you can come to, I know a lot of you are brand new. You can join us in Montego Bay, Jamaica We're going to be there from July 16th through the 20th. And we have a couple options. Now, some of you have been with us since July. So you're participating in the Business Solutions Summer Getaway Program that runs from July through March. And in that program, oh, I just skipped a screen. And in that program, I think I don't have that screen. In that program, if you're in it, you know it, because you are currently qualifying to go with us through the Business Solutions Summer Getaway. But the one I wanted to make sure that everybody knows about was just announced for September. For those of you that are brand new, we have what's called the Full Service Leaderboard. We're taking 50 more associates and a guest, and all you have to do is qualify from September to February. And how do you qualify? It's not going to be easy. It's going to be simple. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be simple. And it's going to be so much fun when you're walking the beach with us in Jamaica. So all you do is you take the total personal premium that you've written times the number of recruits if you're building a team, and that number gives you unlimited points. Your group business is counted at 50% of the total, and all your small business sales are counted as well. You can earn bonus points when people that join your team fast start qualify, and then you can be there with us 5 nights, 4 days, all inclusive, Hyatt Ziva Rose Hall, round trip airfare for 2, and a whole bunch more partying besides that as well. So I also want to remind you, because as we've been talking a lot about fourth quarter, Q4 is going to be amazing, the Super Bowl of our year. But it is Q3. We are continuing to watch people qualify for these additional cash bonuses. As a Ruby, earning up to $2,000 for the first place ranking, up to $4,000 as a Sapphire, and $6,000 for first place as an Emerald. You can see the company is putting thousands of dollars on the table. Why are they doing this? To help inspire all of our new associates to get started quickly. And if you like to be inspired by additional incentive dollars on top of our compensation plan, on top of building a residual income for life with your book of business, how about a $100,000 cash bonus program that we've been running for the year 2023? Now, as we are moving in from Q3 to Q4, we know that this is not the same mindset as it was on January 1st, because a lot of you are saying, if I was in this business on January 1st, I would capture all $100,000 of that money. And that is what there's going to be several people that are walking away with the full $100,000 when this year is over. However, there's going to be a whole bunch of people that walk away with the $70,000, the $45,000. What if you just picked up an additional $27,000 in cumulative cash bonuses because you got focused on seriously opening groups and writing business in the Q4, in the end of Q3, Q4? My point is, we got a lot of this year left, and there's a lot of money on the table to get you focused on picking it up. I often talk about, many of you have seen me do our business opportunity presentation, where I talk about a $100 fast start bonus. And I compare it to the $100,000 bonus you're looking at on the screen right now. And I remind everybody that how you do anything is how you do everything. So I always encourage the new associates, pick up the $100 fast start bonus. It will set your mindset into taking every dollar off the table that our company puts on for us. And I would say the same thing about this. Get as much of this money off the table as you can. You won't be sorry. Now, as I'm wrapping up, I'm going to move into some events that you need to know about this week in a second. But I want to remind you also that we have the rest of this year to qualify you as a top producer, Sapphire Elite. With just $3,500 in personal business solutions premium, you're getting a dedicated Sapphire support line, executive director level commissions on all groups over 200 employees, regardless of your rank, and targeted incentives that are just for Sapphire Elites. And for Emerald Elite, with $8,000 in personal business solutions premium during this year, you're getting a dedicated home office Emerald Elite account manager concierge. This is white glove level service for you. Dedicated enrollment communications leader concierge. Platinum level commissions on all groups of 200 employees plus, regardless of your rank. Exclusive access to advanced trainings, private dining experience during our conventions and special events, and targeted incentives as well. Who wants to be treated like royalty? Join us as Sapphires and Emeralds and feel it for yourself. Now let's talk about what you need to know that's coming up in the week. This is where you're going to want to get your screenshot thumbs ready. We've got our B2B prospecting blitz tomorrow and every Tuesday, and you'll see on the screen all the details about that. I spoke on the wrap up last week. It was a lot of fun having a chance to communicate with all of you that are reaching out there and touching these companies. It is fun to do this business together. 2x2 and 4x4 just makes it more fun. So join us on the Business Solutions Blitz, and then contact companies and follow up with people together and enjoy everything that comes with that. Mike, I know you stepped away, but if I do a terrible job of explaining any of this, you are free to interrupt me. But that's our prospecting blitz tomorrow, Tuesday, and every Tuesday. Also, we have our Northeast Regional virtual training Tuesday from 4 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Central Time. Now, this is a training that, as it says, the Northeast region, but folks are invited from all areas. It's on Zoom, and it's free for all associates. We would love to have you join us there and take advantage of this. Kelly Realt's going to be there, Linda Bozzoli, Sharon Larry. It's going to be a fantastic training, all for free. I just want you to just think about this. All of these trainings that you get access to at no charge. Why? Because our company doesn't see you as the profit center. We're not in the business of charging you for trainings, with the one caveat I'm going to show you here in a moment, and we can't do anything about it. But we are in the business of helping you win so that we can all grow and rise together. The road from 4.4 million customers to 40 million customers and beyond, make no mistake, the road to get us where we're trying to go is going to be through well-trained, empowered associates. And so we're putting the energy and effort into well-trained, empowered associates. Fundamentals of Business Solutions training is going to take place Thursday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central Time. Now, you have to pre-register for this, so I want to make sure you get this screenshot. Mr. Marty Galano, $400,000 ring earner, is going to be the one teaching this class. He's a top group opener. This does conflict with one other thing, but I'm going to show you both of these things anyway. But you want to be a part of this fundamentals class for sure. Now, I'm going to do something also on Thursday at noon Eastern, and I want you to know about this. So I'm going to just tell you a quick story. I did a solutions luncheon in Tacoma, Washington on Friday. And what happened was, since I was going to be in town, the local associates invited all of the business owners that they've been trying to get meetings with to show them Legal Shield as an employee benefit, to show them this business solutions opportunity. And they used the excuse that I was going to be in town as the reason to get them out to a luncheon. So we had this really nice place. It was at one of these co-working places, really cool, nice boardroom, great lunch. And we had all these people that represented hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of employees by these owners and decision makers around the table. And I did one presentation for them. I also used the new presentation slides, which are just fabulous. And we had a great time at the luncheon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one virtual for us this Thursday for a couple of reasons. Number one, I definitely want you to bring your guests that have businesses, or people that you know that know a lot of people that are influencers and circles of influence of business owners. Because I want to show them how they can gain a competitive edge in attracting and retaining top talent by bringing Legal Shield and ID Shield into their benefits package at no cost to the company. And I'm going to do that presentation. It'll be about 30 minutes on September 21st, noon Eastern. Now, the way I'm going to close that is by directing them back to the person that invited them to the meeting, which means that you need to not just put this on your Facebook page, what you're seeing. Don't just do that, because there'll be people at the meeting and they won't know who invited them. They won't remember. So if you're going to use this graphic, cut the URL off the bottom of it. It is solutionsmeeting.live, just like you're using today. Just cut that off and don't show them that, and then give them the link once you get confirmation that they're coming. In other words, don't just post this on Facebook the way it is, because we won't know that that's your guest. So I'm going to tell your guest, get back to you for what we call, and by the way, I'll help you with these as well, and other leaders will as well. But we'll go back and we'll do that meeting. That is the next step to talk about the enrollment, taking the action of getting their employees enrolled in the services. And again, myself and the other field leaders will help you with that as well. But I'm going to do that presentation in about 30 minutes. So you are welcome to invite all your business owner friends. Also, it's a great place for those of you that are getting started in business solutions to hear somebody else do this decision maker meeting. And I'll be happy to do that for you so you can watch and listen in. Also, we have the Canadian Employee Benefits Certification Training on Friday, September 22nd from 11 to 3:30. And on Saturday, the 23rd, our Sales Masterclass with Melissa Peters, $300,000 ring earner, our Senior Network Vice President over Small Business. She's going to be talking about the new ID Shield experience. And to access that, you'll see it's chatwiththepros.com, which is the link to our corporate home office Zoom account. So that training is from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. There'll be a Q&A after. It's going to be best to participate in this live so you can participate in the Q&A. Also, as I'm wrapping up, we have Mike Rich's next employee benefits certification class, the USA version, will be Thursday, September 28th from 11 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Central Time. And the registration is going to close at 10 a.m. Central Time that day. So let's get you and your new associates pre-registered for that right away. Closing in on all of these accounts. Now, this is the one that has a small cost, $49 for our commercial driver's legal plan certification training. That's going to take place on Saturday, September 30th as well. So 10 to 3 on the 30th. And that's Mr. Alan Roman and Mr. Lamar Reynolds are going to teach that webinar together and get you certified to offer Legal Shield as to the commercial truck drivers, for those of you that are interested in participating in that. Many of you know that you've been invited to Dallas to the Hyatt Regency. This is an event at no cost to you. There's no registration fee. All you have to do is get yourself there. Some of you are in Dallas. All you're going to do is drive up the road and meet us there. The attendance is free, but you do have to register. The registration link is in LS Engage. You'll be able to register at no cost for that. So I would love for you to be there with us. That's October 3rd. Every executive, every top producer and ring earner, and all the Millionaire Club members are going to be there. Come together. We've got a lot of big announcements we're going to be talking about. We want to give you this information firsthand as we launch into the fourth quarter and the finish of the year. And so I know I'm out of time. I'll just say that next week when we come together on Monday, I'll be joined by $300,000 ring earner and Millionaire Club member, Mr. Alistair Edwards. Mr. Edwards also serves as the Southeast region field trainer, overseeing the field training program and the field trainers in that area as well. You're going to love hearing his story and hearing all the great nuggets he has for you as well. So put that in your calendar for next week, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, for our Business Solution Circle Up. And folks, that is it. It's 12:46 p.m. where I am. It's time for us to wrap up Monday in a big way as we kick off the week here. And I just want to remind everybody that what you do matters. It's important and it's noble work. And it's not always easy. And it doesn't always feel like it's going your way. But everybody you touch with this Legal Shield and ID Shield membership, you are an agent of change in their life. Every time you show somebody that they have an option outside of just being pushed around, quieted down, told to take it the way it is, you are changing somebody's life. Every time you help a business owner have the same expert access to the legal system, the same expert access to advice and counsel as Fortune 500 companies so they can really, truly compete, you are changing everything. You're changing the fabric of society. And as we go from 4 million to 40 million and beyond, you're going to see that what you do is transformative in every community that you and I touch. You are certainly agents of change, and I celebrate everything you do. Thanks so much to Rachel Lawton, to Mr. Mike Riches, and to all of you for what you do every single day. Have a great rest of your Monday. Good day.